This is the Digital Trust Podcast. In every episode, we strive to bring support to those of you who serve on the front lines and in the trenches of data and technology. We endeavor to bring understanding to the under-resourced and underappreciated, help remove your stress, and provide relief to your pain. Welcome to the Digital Trust Podcast. Sit down with us as we give you hard-hitting advisory conversations to help you build digital trust with your stakeholders and clients, and actionable takeaways to help you become a digitally trustworthy organization.
Welcome, everybody, once again to the Digital Trust Podcast. My name is Christian Redshaw, and I have my co-host with me, Zach Eikenberry, and we're going to hit this quickly. This is part B of a proactive, or part 2 of proactive security series. And we have the pleasure and blessing of having Rob and Laura from White Tuque on. So welcome once again to the podcast.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us. Really appreciate it.
Awesome. So last time we talked about incident response planning proactively, and there are three other buckets that I'd like to hit today. One of them would be awareness training, one of them would be vulnerability management, and the other one is penetration testing. So I know you guys do a great job in all of those three areas. So you guys are seasoned veterans there. Laura, I'm going to start with you. What are some of the security myths that you see out there? And why do you think that companies underinvest in cybersecurity?
Yeah, and I think I'm going to take this in the direction around testing and software development. And shops that they have very technical people, and that's amazing. But thinking that being very technical, it also means you totally understand security. I think that's where sometimes our egos get a little ahead of ourselves, right? So having somebody come in who understands things from a security lens is only going to strengthen your team. They're not there to recode your work. They're not there to, tell you that you did it badly or anything like that. They're helping you find those weaknesses before somebody else shows up to exploit it who has bad intentions. And a great security partner knows that and comes in to partner with you and really help you build a better, stronger product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think in the world of AI, with AI code tools out there right now, I mean, it is a wide open space for security practitioners to get in and actually make sure that code base is secure. It's an interesting hot take. It's not on people's front of mind right now, especially out of Silicon Valley. Yeah,
vibe coding is that's a whole other topic that I bet we don't have time for.
That's right. Yeah,
honorable mention.
That's right. Because you also have an expertise in pen testing, and I'm curious. What do you see out there with organizations? Are they still resistant to penetration testing, or are more and more getting on board with it? And then what do you think the current state of the union is around pen testing in the industry?
Yeah, I'll shorten it to three common attitudes towards it. So one is the head in the sand. If I don't look, I don't have to fix it. And the second one would be I have to do it because it's a compliance checkbox or my customer requires a report off of me, and so I got to do it. And the third one, and this is where I hope people are going, and I do know more people are going in this direction, is this is something that actually helps me deliver a better product for my customer. My code base will be stronger because we'll find those weaknesses. And often they're conjoined. They're not just security weaknesses. They're often things that help that actually slow down the product or make it perform not as well as it could. So there's a ton of benefits, but helping people move away from that idea that they're in the cloud protects me. That is a big myth, right? You need to actually test the things you have put together, make sure all those layers are doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's awesome. So staying on the technology front here and talking about vulnerability management. So you've got the vulnerability scanning, that visibility piece, and then you've got the patching side of things. What are some of the common pain points that you see companies have around managing their vulnerabilities?
Yeah, it's a lot of volume, and I think that's the hard part, right? Prioritizing and focusing, and we really want people to use a risk lens around it. So a lot of the scanners and the tools, they will help you tell how much impact a vulnerability has, right? How badly can it damage you if it's exploited? But it also needs to be married with the idea of how likely is it to be exploited, right? So the more exposure that vulnerability has, if it's on a port open to the internet, an API that's open on the internet, that's extremely exposed, versus something that's more internal to your environment. And also, when we talk about sort of the traditional vulnerability management on infrastructure, the ones that we know are being exploited already, ransomware is using it, or the various actors, it's recorded that they are exploiting these vulnerabilities regardless of what level of impact it is, because sometimes it's that little lower level vulnerability, but it's the foothold that lets them get into the bigger stuff. So you don't have to fix everything. That might be a hot take to some people, but there's so many. There's so many. You're not going to fix them all. So let's just be realistic. You got to fix the most important ones, the biggest impact with the highest likelihood of being exploited.
Rob, you look like you've got something to say on vulnerability patching and management.
No, I think it's kind of what Laura touched on there as well, right? Is that, I remember I've been a part of, a lot of times vulnerabilities got to that, major incident point. And a lot of times it was just because it was a certain rating, right? And we might have been leaving that dev server behind that no one was looking at, but hey, it had, 2 5s, a 6, and a 7 on it, right? That all the attention's being diverted. And, being able to really quantify, what assets are supporting our critical functions and our crown jewels as an organization is actually so empowering, because if you're pulling people off of their regular work to constantly doing vulnerabilities that really don't have a chance of being attacked, like that's really has downstream impacts in all areas of your business. So it sounds boring at sometimes, maybe, or bad not to look at all of them, but that viewpoint and lens can really empower your team to be, stopping the things that are most likely to be exploited.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes too, related to this is vulnerability management can be very people heavy. It needs a lot of horsepower, even with not managing all of the vulnerabilities out there. So I know that there are managed services out there, including the ones that White Tuque offers as well. So that's something for folks to keep in mind who have stretched budgets and small security and IT teams. Switching gears to the awareness training bucket, and I think we can start with Laura on this one. It's easy to see that this is a very proactive element of cybersecurity. So speaking through a proactive lens, what's your approach to awareness training, and what type of training do you guys provide for your clients?
Yeah, it's that proactive involvement of people. We talk about people, process, and technology are the key pillars that make up a fulsome security program, and helping people to, first of all, not be afraid of cybersecurity, and be engaged in feeling like it's part of what they do to help protect their job, protect the company, that this is part of what they're not just an expectation, but that they want to. And a lot of people really do want to do the right thing. So then the awareness is also empowering them, right? Knowing what to do, and building those supporting processes so that people know how to report an issue when they see one, knowing that we're trying not to have shame culture around, you made a mistake. Don't compound it with the second mistake of hiding it, right? We know we can all be in the right circumstance to be phished, to be tricked, to be scammed. So it's trying to help people, know what to do. And then, of course, the more empowered they are to be aware of how to see these things coming at them, then the higher the bar is to end up having a mistake that creates impact. We love continuous awareness where that works. And we also love face-to-face or, live, even if it's virtual and live, to let interactivity happen. Let people ask their questions, let people, see people responding to the information, and feeling that community, because security is also a lot about community, and knowing that you're supported in these circumstances. There's lots of technical solutions too. We have other partners who we would reach out to support with technical training and, so more the online space.
And one thing I would add quickly is that whenever I get a chance in those in-person sessions, like, love to bring in some threat intelligence. There's a lot of great material out there from any government, whether it be Australia, UK, Canada, US. Talk about some of these incidents that have happened, right? Because you hear about in the news, oh, there was an outage, they paid the ransom. You never hear about any of the context, right? If you can get executives to start caring about cyber and what's actually happening in those incidents to their peers, that's a big win too. So don't be afraid to I mean, it's exciting stuff. It's interesting stuff, right? Share and talk a little bit about some of the motivations of what's happening behind those threat actors as well.
That's awesome. I have two more questions to close out the show today. The first question, and I think I'll direct this to Rob, is there a resource that you can point our viewers and listeners to? It might be something that White Tuque provides, or just an information source that you really appreciate, a YouTube channel, a book, anything. Do you have any recommendations?
You know what?
for us?
I might be boring, and I'm gonna give a shout out to the Canadian Center for Cybersecurity here up north on the border. There's a lot of great stuff there. I actually got to meet the head down in Washington not too long ago, and they're making a lot of great stuff available. Threat intelligence, CSE is helping out as well. It's great seeing that collaboration of different government agencies with the common goal of making sure that you know, the populace is informed of what's going on out there. So that'd be
Perfect.
one I'm going to give a shout out to.
Yeah, that we'll take that one. We've had them on a podcast episode prior. Laura, last question for you to take us out. If you could pick one guest, one superhero for our podcast, who would you recommend that we have? Surprise question.
Oh gosh, that was a surprise question. Wow. Right at the end there. Shoot. Wow, there's some really cool people out there doing great work. I'm just gonna throw it out there because I mean, you probably know his name. I would hope you know his name, Brian Krebs, right? The work that he does, and he does it with a lot of courage. He is very much in the public sphere, and continuing to bring attention to these things. I think that's amazing. There's so many people who put out great information all the time, and it's not always popular. It often comes at personal peril. And so to all of those people willing to do that,
Sure.
I think that's amazing.
Awesome.
Perfect. So good two notes to end on there. The Canadian Center for Cyber Security and Brian Krebs. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, both of you, for being on our show today. We hope that you will send us a couple of White Tuques.
Most certainly.
Yeah.
At some point in the mail. We'll get you those mailing addresses in Florida and Vancouver. And special
For our
thank you.
American friends, we say, we're converting beanies to toques.
Beanies.
One
That's right.
customer at a time.
White, you should open up an LLC in the States and call it White Beanies.
Yeah. I'm going to skip past any tariff jokes.
There you go.
I don't want to.
100% tariff. So just keep that in mind. Yes, and as I was saying, special thanks to our viewers and listeners for being part of this conversation today, and we'll see you in the very next episode.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today on the Digital Trust Podcast. If you found this conversation helpful, please share it with someone you care about. And if you'd like to receive our monthly newsletter, please click the link in the description to subscribe. And to put your mind at ease, our newsletter will include episode summaries with key points and actionable takeaways, plus a heads up on the upcoming episode guests. Rest assured, it won't be a spammy sales message, and we will never sell or share your information. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.